What is going on, guys? I'm here. Welcome back to Football Manager 2019 Stoke City transfer window. Now, I said that, well, I don't know what I said, actually. I don't know whether we were going to do the transfer window together. There's a lot to do, right? If I did the transfer window with you, they would literally be a 4-hour episode because I spend so much time on this game when it comes to like transfer windows and stuff. Now, Ibrahim Doucouré of the under-23s, I think, has now gone out on loan. By the way, there is a new skin on this game right now. If you like it, I'll keep it. If not, then I'll go back to the other one. I'm a bit undecided myself. A few things here or there will be different. You'll be able to see that yourself. So let me know in the comments whether you like it. And of course, if you do go on to enjoy the video, a help would be liked. A like would be very, very helpful. Just let me know that you guys are enjoying the series and to continue doing it. Now, we are in the Premier League. It is the 21st of July. So we've got a couple of weeks before the season starts. Today, I'm going to go through all the business we've done. And we're going to go into the transfer market and try and do a little bit more business as well. There probably won't be a game today, but in tomorrow's episode, we'll then kick the season off. I think our first game of the season is West Ham. Now, Ibrahim Doucouré, of course, is a decent player. This is the new skin. So we've got this stuff down the right, like traits, media description, personality and stuff. This stuff isn't in the full, like the proper game. We've got a shirt number here, and there should be a player picture there. Of course, Doucouré is a youth player, so he doesn't have a picture. And then all the rest of the stuff is as normal here. But of course, you get the left foot and the right foot now, so you know exactly how good their weak and strong foot are. I'm not a big fan of the colours here. It would be nice if these were sort of green rather than blue. Kind of just blends into the background. That's my only complaint about this skin. But he has just moved to Crawley on loan, so we're going to get some first team football for Ibrahim Doucouré. Now, unfortunately, there's no way for me to go back through the archives and find this because it happened a little while ago. The club has been taken over. The current owner has sold the club, and the new person in charge, if I go to staff, his name is something Wilkinson, I think it is. Where is it? Chairman. Stephen Wilkinson is our new chairman. Now, they took over the club. I had a transfer embargo for a couple of weeks. And then eventually, they pumped a bit of money into the club. Now, when I say a bit of money, it was like 20 million in transfer budget. So we went from having... I'd spent like 5 million or something, so we were down at about 30 and we went up to 42. So he pumped nearly 20 million into the club. It was more like 17 million. The club's overall balance is incredible. He's come in and he's pumped a lot of money into the club. I've gone through all of the under-23s and the reserves and the players that weren't playing. They were all out on loan last season, and I've sold a lot. So we've actually sold more than what we've bought so far. And I'm going to show you that right now. I wanted to get that out of the way before I went there. And we were like, how the hell have you got that much money? And you'll see why. So, here we go. Now, this on the left are the players that I've bought. And the players on the right are the ones that have been sold. As you can see at the bottom there, we have sold a total of £81 million worth of players. And if I move this way, you'll see that we've got 15 million bought. Right, so I've spent 15 million and we've sold 81 million worth of players. Now, the players that we've sold, Kevin Wimmer, he was on loan last season. In fact, let me go find out where he went. He was on loan at Hanover. We bought him for 17 million from Tottenham. He played 17 games in real life, and then they loaned him to Hanover. And then I obviously took over in the 18-19 season, and he was obviously not there to play. So I decided I've done without him now. I can do without him again. So he, of course, has now gone to Fulham for 23 million, which is pretty good for us because all this is free money as far as I'm concerned because I got through the Championship without any of them. So it made no difference to me. Eric Peters has gone to Leganes for 3 million. Imbula has gone to Leicester for 18 million. This was an interesting one for me because this guy is young. He's only 21 years of age. Julian Goy. Now, he's a decent little player, nothing too crazy. My scout reckons that he would have been a good signing at the time. Obviously, he already played for us, but you know what I mean. My scout reckons he's a decent signing. He's not as good as Sam Vokes on paper, but he's not far off, and he's only 21. This guy has a clause in his contract. I'm not sure if I can look. Contract info? Well, maybe it's not a clause in his contract necessarily. It's a clause in the transfer, I guess. You can't see it, but it does definitely exist. I get like 50% of the future fee. So whatever Southampton sell him for, we get half of that. And it's not profit, it's the actual transfer. So even if they sell him for 20 million, we get 10 million back, which is brilliant. I'm hoping that he either flops for them, keeps his price and ends up moving, or he flourishes and Man United come in for him. We only sold him for 12 million, but that's because I put the 50% on because he was so young. I know a lot of fans may not like this, Badu and Di, or whatever his name is, but he went for 25 million. I mean, in hindsight, he probably could have stayed. He was a very good player, very good work rates and things. However, he's 28 years of age. He was on a huge wage at the club. In fact, he took a wage cut to go there. And I think I'm still paying about 12,000 of his wages a week for the next 2 seasons, which is not ideal, but it was better than having him sat in the reserves doing sod all. So he's gone for 25 million, which I didn't think was too bad at all. And of course, Martins Indi, who barely played for us last season, has gone for about 500,000. That was a huge wage to get off the bill, though. He's on 32,000 there. He was actually on 40 for us. So we've got a massive wage off the wage budget. Now, off the wage bill. I've bought 3 people so far. I will buy more, but I don't know, I'm being a bit tight with my money. So I've gone through and I've done a bit of a Moneyball. Now, if you've not seen the film Moneyball, I would highly recommend it. It's about baseball. I don't like baseball, but it's got Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt in it, and you'd think, oh, it's going to be a comedy. It's not a comedy. It's kind of funny in places, but it's a brilliant film. You need to go watch it. It's about how a very young, essentially, analyst went out and literally built a team based off stats and nothing but stats. So, like, for instance, you'd consider Ronaldo the best player in the world or Messi the best player in the world. But if you look at, like, stats across Europe, they may not be top of the tree. You just think, oh, Messi, Ronaldo, best players in the game. But they might not be. If you go look at the stats and the conversion rates and the key passes and the key tackles and things, you'll find that there are players out there who do a much better job, and they're sort of unsung heroes. Now, this is what I've done here. Marco Capuano. This guy was he played in Italy. I bought him from Frosinone, who they bought him from Cagliari for 500,000. We spent 3.3 million on him, so they've made a lot of money. We've got ourselves a fantastic centre-back here. This guy won most key tackles last season in the whole of Italy. He was top of the tree for the most tackles. And then, of course, there was something else as well. Tackles per game, the most like key tackles or something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but he was a very consistent defender, and he played an average rating of 6.78, which isn't too bad considering he played for a team, Frosinone, who got relegated. I mean, that's actually pretty impressive, right? So, that was player number 1. Now, Stu Lock, this is a very exciting player. I'm actually really looking forward to get this guy on the pitch. He has a lot of good traits, tries long free kicks. Of course, we don't really have anyone who does free kicks that well. He does, 17, and he tries long ranges. Tries to play his way out of trouble, may cause us a few problems here or there, places shots and gets forward whenever possible, which is really good. We got him for 6.5 million from Parma, who have made a nice pretty penny on him. Now, this guy had the most key passes of the entire roster of the Italian league. So this guy, believe it or not, considering he's up against, big names like Dybala, Ronaldo, Raja Nainggolan, and so on and so forth, this guy got most key passes last season. He got something else. What was his average rating? 6.93. It wasn't that. It was something else as well. Most key passes and one other stat. He takes a lot of shots. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get him in. Very, very good central midfield player. And finally, Jack Marriott. Now, this is an extremely interesting signing as far as he's concerned, because I don't know if this would have happened in real life. Jack Marriott was the joint second highest goal scorer, or third goal scorer, in the Championship last season, behind Leeds striker, and I think there was a Bristol City striker in there that went absolutely crazy and scored a load of goals. But Jack Marriott had the best conversion rate out of all of those players. So despite the fact that he didn't score as many as the Leeds United striker, his conversion rate was better compared to shots per game and things. So the interesting thing about this was Derby County were in the playoffs at the time, playing in a semi-final, forget who was against, Norwich I think, and he decided to sign for us just before the playoff game. He played in the playoff, they won the semi-final, and then they went into the final. He signed the contract officially, and he scored in the final against Aston Villa. They beat Aston Villa 2-1, and they are now in the Premiership as well. But they are going to have to do it without Jack Marriott, who is now a Stoke City player. I've never seen it before. 5.5, they bought him for 5.5, and he was the second highest goal scorer in the league with the best conversion rate. So I kind of went off a bit of a money ball situation, and I just went out and got some players that you wouldn't think to buy, but they had some very, very nice stats knocking about the place. Now, believe it or not, we've got a big transfer budget here. The overall balance of the club is 105 million. The chairman has gone a bit crazy. Like, there's not like a massive amount of money been pumped into the club. There's expenditure has gone up because obviously transfers, but there's not like a massive amount of money that's been flooded in. We've been steadily building, and there was an injection there. There was a slight injection there and a slight injection down here as well. But as you can see, we have 113 million with around 300,000 or 400,000 transfer budget per week to spend as well. So there are a lot of things we can do with that. I'm about to get a new centre back. Now this is only going to be a loan till the end of the season, and I'm going to need help with his name. Kagla Soyuncu, I can't say his name. Someone help me out with that guy's name. Now last season he only played 13 games for Leicester, but according to my scout, he would be a superb signing. And despite the fact that he only played a set number of games, he had something like 6 tackles per game in those 13 games. Now, it's not a massive sort of pool of data to go off, only playing 13 games, but that would be a really, really big signing for us, even if it is on loan. So I'm quite happy about that. I've not been playing the friendlies. I've been letting them sort of tick over themselves. Assistant manager has taken control. I asked my scout to go after João Moutinho because this guy has requested that he be put on the transfer list. He hasn't actually been put on there yet, but he's handed in a transfer request. Now, of course, that would be a big, big signing for us. It's 17 million, and I would imagine his wage would go up to about 90 to 100,000, which is a lot to spend, although we do have the money there. However, my scouts is telling me that we need to get this guy in whatever the price. The issue that I have is that he's 32 years of age, and let's be honest, after this season, he is going to start dipping dramatically. So I don't know whether I want to go out there and spend the money on João Moutinho. I did ask them to have a look. I thought maybe because he requested a transfer, he could actually be down in the sort of 10 million mark. I mean, if I could get him for anything less than that, then I would have considered it. But Ian Thomas training report. This is the youngster that we signed. He is currently flying up in ability. We signed him from TNS way back when. I mean, we got him for literally 500 quid from TNS right at the beginning of the season. We loaned him back to TNS immediately, and at the moment he's not he's just sat in the under-18s doing nothing. No one wants to loan him in, but as you can see, he is improving big time and very, very quick. He's speaking of very quick, he is very quick. I quite like that. 17 pace, 14 acceleration. If he carries on the way he is, he's 16 years of age, if he carries on the way he is, he'll either be worth a lot of money for us to sell, or he could actually make it into the the cup game or something. But in terms of buying someone else, I don't really know what else to do. If we can get the Leicester City centre-back in on loan, then that's kind of like the centre-back sorted, really. I'll show you the team in just a second. We've got a couple of things knocking about here. So, I looked at this guy, the Rangers striker. Every time I looked at a new striker, because obviously we've got Marriott, but he's on a backup contract. We have Sam Vokes, who, of course, was one of the best players in the league last year, despite the fact that I didn't think he was that prolific. Afobe is on his way out. He came to me with first team football concerns, despite the fact that we're not even playing football. I told him that he's probably not going to feature much this season because we have a new striker. He wasn't too best pleased, and now he's gone. So he hasn't quite gone yet, but he's in the process of leaving. I went and looked for a brand new striker. Vokes is happy to sit on the bench. Marriott's going to be happy to get barely any game time just in case he doesn't work out. I want to go out and I want to spend like 50 million on a new striker. The issue that I have is that we don't have the pulling power. So players like this, Alfredo Morales, is what I'm going to have to deal with. Now, I don't think I'm going to go in for him. You know, he's a good striker for Rangers and all, but no disrespect to anyone who's a fan of the Scottish League. Scoring 17 goals in 29 games in the Scottish League is not the same as scoring 17 in 29 in the Premier League. So despite the fact that this guy is the top of the charts for literally everything that I search for, it's because he's doing it in a league that doesn't really compare with the Premier League. So I can't really go off that much. Next player is going to be Veltman. I asked, again, for my scouts to go and have a look at Veltman of Wolves. And, you know, turns out he's okay, but I don't think he's going to be that player that we want to bring in. Would be a very good signing, according to my scout. Would be the second best defender along with Bauer, but they're assuming he's going to be playing right back as opposed to centre back, which is where I think I'd want to play him. But I don't know. I think I might leave that alone. I don't know what to do right now. If we can get that centre back in on loan, I guess there's not an awful lot more business to do. We have a lot of money. You'd think spending all the money would make sense, but I don't think it does, to be honest. We've still got a fairly big squad. No one came in for Tom Ince. He's now worth almost nothing. He's worth under $1 million. Tom Ince, who we bought for 10 million from Huddersfield, is now worth under $1 million. He only played 6 times for us last season. No one's come in for him. Absolutely no one wants him. We've still got decent cover. You know, we've got a lot of midfield options. In Klukas, we have Etebo, who's a very, very good player, of course. A lot of nice traits. Can play basically anywhere across the midfield. And is still only 23 years of age with 4.5-star potential, which is really, really good. Vokes is wanted, incidentally. Now, would not be against selling Sam Vokes, to be honest. If I could get... Because he's 29, right? And yeah, okay, he had a very good season last year. He scored 17 goals in 34 matches. But if we could sell him, then it means buying a big, big striker makes sense, because we'll buy a striker that's better than Vokes. We'll have Marriott as backup, because he's happy to be backup, because that's what's written into his contract. And it would get 44,000 off the wage that we're unlikely to use that much this season anyway. Because last season I wasn't a big fan of him. So... He's won the I was going to say he's won it back to back. He hasn't. I thought he was with Burnley and they won the championship in 2016. 3 years later, he's just won it with Stoke, and he may very well be on his way to Southampton. In fact, I am going to offer him to Southampton, and I'm going to see what happens. I don't particularly want to put him on the transfer list, but I have just offered him out, and we'll see what comes back. We do have Adam Eider. Now, he didn't do anything last season, but he has improved slightly upon last season. He's still only 18 years of age, still has 4-star potential, only played 5 times in the championship last year, didn't play particularly well, but I am more than... He's got a lot of traits. I am more than happy to give him a second chance in the Premier League. Can he make that step up, I wonder? I mean, he's got stats in the right areas. It's just a case of applying himself a little bit. It's a weird one. What was I was about to do something and I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Anyway, we do have a pretty decent team going on there. We do have Bojan out injured. It's only for a week or two. He might miss the first game of the season, but we do have players who can play in this position, so it's not that big a deal. And I think what we're going to do for the remainder of this episode is just go and have a look to see what players are available to us, and then I'm going to take your suggestions from the comments. So if I go for unsure about whether to sign for us, so we get the biggest sort of spectrum. If I just go doubtful, see, look, we just don't have pulling power. That's the problem. I'm searching for people with 17 finishing. Let's just get rid of that. Let's just look for strikers. It's the only criteria. Here we go. So There's a couple more there now that weren't there yesterday. Danny Welbeck is now there. He wasn't there yesterday. I was interested in Diogo Jota. Now, this guy isn't exactly proven in the Premier League. 8 goals in 36 games isn't what I would call prolific. But at least he knows how to score goals. He's had Premier League experience. He's still only 22. He's still young and has a lot of ability with some decent potential. My scouts reckon this would be a superb signing, and he is better than any other player that we have, although they are suggesting that we play him on the left as opposed to a striker. I mean, we'd have to try him out and see what happens, but he is currently wanted by several clubs, but he's unhappy at the club, so he'd be more than happy to come to us, is what I'm thinking. Is that a good signing, though? Yes or no? What do you think? Because I've been tempted to go after him, but I don't know whether to take a risk or not. Should we just stick to what we have and maybe see where we get, and maybe in January go and spend the money? I don't know. I have 113 million right now and not an awful lot of reason to go and spend it. We have a good squad. I don't know whether we have enough to stay in the league. Sandro from Everton was a very good player that caught my eye. His wage is absolutely astronomical. My scout reckons it would be a quality signing. I'm guessing I'd have to spend about 30 million to get him in. He's about as good as Sam Vokes, according to my scout, which, I mean, is it worth upgrading? It's not an upgrade, really, is it? It's going sideways. So, and again, only 4 goals in 20 games, and that was in La Liga. Again, another league that is completely different to the way that we play over here. So, I mean, in the 8 games he played for Everton back in 2017-18, he didn't score a single goal. So I don't know whether that's a good idea. There are so many players. Danny Welbeck has got bags and bags of Premier League experience, but is he worth, going after? They want 19 million for him, and he would command a huge wage. I would imagine it's not at 28 years of age, because he's not even that good, really. Chris Wood is basically just another Sam Vokes, and would command a huge, huge transfer fee. Berardi is unhappy currently at Sassuolo. Very good player, but plays on the right, the same position Abdoulaye Touré plays, who I've just given a new contract to, and have told basically that he's the main player of the team, so he kind of needs to stay. He can't be forced out. Pedro, 22 years of age, 15 million, not that high in wages. Let's send a scout out and have a look at him. 9 goals in 13 games. Yes, it's only the Brazilian league, but 9 goals, 3 assists, playing a 7.06 and 1 man of the match in 13 games is nothing to be sniffed at. That could be a decent little player. And there's just not an awful lot else. Ben Woodburn, right, is being touted as a superb signing. Would be our best player in his position, which is basically a cam. Interesting stuff, because again, he's only 19 years of age. Now, Liverpool don't want to sell him, but I would imagine for about 25-30 mil, we could get Woodburn. Is that a good signing? He's already better than Danny Welbeck. So, I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good signing or not. The issue that we have really is the pulling power. We just don't have what it takes to be able to bring in the likes of Harry Kane or something. We don't have that about us, which is a shame, because it would be nice to be able to bring in just a big name, but we're just not going to be able to do it, unfortunately. So, we could bring in Calvert-Lewin, although I would need... What I want is a proven striker. I want someone who I know is going to come in and get us the, 15, 20 goals a season. But unfortunately, I just can't guarantee it with any of these. Let me know in the comments what you think is the best idea, the best option that we have. You can pause it there if you want, have a look at that list, let me know in the comments. I won't skip too far forward, and I'll take your comments on board, and then we'll go back in, we'll complete the transfer window, and then we'll start the season. Speaking of starting the season, West Ham and Burnley are going to be the first 2 games of the season. What I might do, play West Ham on the first opening day for you to see tomorrow, skip the Burnley game, and play Manchester United at home on the 24th of August. And then we'll skip down a little bit, maybe down into the Crystal Palace, the Watford, maybe play Leeds actually, although we do have Arsenal, Man City back-to-back. Look at the state of November. We have Arsenal, Man City, Marriott goes back to Derby, and then we have Tottenham. That is such a difficult month. November might be a bumper episode. In fact, that might be the day after tomorrow's episode. I think what I might do, we'll play West Ham and Man United tomorrow. We'll skip 6 of these games here, and then we'll play all 4 games, or maybe just do back-to-back like a double-header. We'll do Arsenal, Man City, and then Derby, Tottenham. Skip December, although I do have to play Liverpool, let's be honest. And then we'll go back into January. But no game is an easy game. We've won all pre-season games so far, but we are up against teams that I've literally never heard of before, apart from Austria, Vienna. So take it with a pinch of salt. I think that's going to do it for today's episode. It's a bit of a different one, I know. I didn't really want to bore you too much with transfer dealings and such, but it's a bit of a difficult one to do, a transfer episode, because I can't sit there and do the whole thing. Otherwise, I can't record it properly. But I've given you a few options. I'm happy with the team the way it looks. If we can get the guy in from Leicester, he will come in probably instead of Bat, although we might have a look around and see whether Capuano can actually do it in the Premier League. But we'll have a little mess around, and then I don't know. I might play a couple of games of the season before we decide whether we need to buy anyone else or not. But let me know based on that transfer, it's like set of transfers, whether you think Diogo Jota is worth a punt or not. Or should we just wait till January and see how the team performs? We've got a fairly big squad. As you can see there, Afobe is currently underbid. 7.25 million from a Turkish league side. Sam Vokes may very well be on his way out. Ince I can't get rid of. So I think we're looking all right. I think we've got enough depth really. But if you have enjoyed today's episode of Football Manager 2019, do me a favour and smack that like button. Service back to normal tomorrow. There'll be a couple of fixtures, transfers at the beginning, and then we'll get into the fixtures. 2 live games as always. And subscribe to the chat if you're new around here, of course. Till then, goodbye.